Heavenly Father, we're grateful for another day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and conduct the business of Meade County. Thank you for all the blessings you bestow in our lives. We pray for our meeting today, that we can accomplish all that we need to in a timely, cordial manner. In Jesus' name, amen.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Aye.
Oh.
Your mic on, Dream?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll talk louder, as if I'm talking to my kids. Okay.
We're like your kids, but we're harder of hearing.
Oh. Well, you're a little bit older, too. Okay. This is the opportunity for public comment. Does anyone have any comments? Good morning.
My name is Casey Krebs. I'm the founder of Impact Entertainment, an sustainability event management company. I'm the festival director for Synesthesia Music and Arts Festival at Bulldog Creek Campground over Labor Day weekend. But I'm actually here more on a sustainability note. I was just told about the HEEHRA Home Energy Rebate Program, and I didn't know if you guys were aware of it. All states have been offered this rebate program to improve residents' homes for like energy efficiency, like electric heating pumps, water heaters, electric ranges, things like that. And Kristi Noem, our governor, all she has to do is just say that she wants it by August 16th. And it's been seeming like she's not going to accept it, and I'm just really worried for the residents of South Dakota. This will bring about $68 million to South Dakota in terms of jobs, and also just there are many state-level jobs that would be here until 2029. So I just think it'd be a great opportunity for South Dakota, and I just didn't know if you were aware. And I just ask you all and the residents of Meade that are here to please let our governor know that she should just indicate her interest in it by August 16th. Thank you.
That was HEEHRA, right?
HEEHRA Home Energy Rebate Program. I do also have some info on it if you guys would like that.
Sure, you could hand that out. I'm unfamiliar with it.
Program and a real missed opportunity for the residents of South Dakota, and because if you're under a certain income, some of these upgrades are completely free to you. So it's a really great program that there's not going to be many states that don't accept it, and it would be a shame if South Dakota was one of those.
Casey, has the governor explained why she's not interested in the program?
I haven't read official statement from what myself and some of the Sustainability Council in Rapid City have been reaching out to people. It's very politically motivated, to be honest with you, because this decision is before the election. They don't want to look at it. And I think that's a shame, because even after the election, we don't know what's going to happen, and it's going to affect the residents very negatively if we don't accept it. So I have not read any official statement. And if you could help, I would like to know too why the decision as well. So.
Well, I read this morning she took down her social media account.
So I'm not sure. I would really love your support in it, because it's been actually pretty hard to find support for it, which I thought would be quite the opposite. But yeah, please research it. I feel like everyone, especially in public offices, should know that it's a thing being offered.
You mentioned you were in charge of entertainment at Bulldog.
Not entertainment, no. I do one specific event with them over Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, and how is that organization progressing as
Yes.
far as timeline and,
Yes.
and the music at night?
Yes. Okay. So right away, right after I talked with the sheriff's office last year on September, we immediately decided that we would not go past 2 a.m. This year we're stopping at 1 a.m. Just to give that little bit of leeway to make a few announcements to guide people back to their campsites to just sit, wrap up the night. And we are extending our silent disco, which is a quiet-based music system. So they're played through headphones to allow music after that 1:30, that cutoff we have, that will be presented, over speakers. But that way people still have an option for music. So we're really shifting. We know we had made a grave error last year, and we are doing everything we can to. We want this to be a long-term relationship with you guys and the all of the local residents. So we are doing everything we can to make sure we mitigate the noise pollution.
And so, in other words, you went high tech.
We went high tech, and I think we were just excited. We were just excited about the new location, and we just went a little too much the first year, and we were making sure we fix that. We're also adding a food drive this year into our ticketing system. We're working with Feeding South Dakota to collect canned food in exchange for a discount of tickets. But I'm hoping the residents of Meade County will also use that as an opportunity to come and donate food because we'll have it nearby for them. And we also are working with Game Fish and Parks. We just helped them with 4th of July to clean up their waste management because they have no waste management other than pack it in, pack it out, which is great for every other occasion except for when you have a major event bringing in 3,000 people, such as the 4th of July at a beach. So they were extremely happy with our help this year, and that was just, the first starting point. So they're really excited about helping them with waste management in the future. And I'm working with Your City Waste, but at Rapid, I have a friend there who's been really helping me. So we're going to make sure we also have a really good recycling program too. We're really trying to reduce waste. Eventually, long-term goal, no waste, but it's a slow process every year.
Well, sounds like you have a lot of irons in the fire.
I'm very busy. I like it that way.
Okay. Well, thank you for the update.
Yes, and please let me know if you have any questions about it. I can help guide resources for the rebate program, and I don't want South Dakota to miss this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any public comment? Bernie, you're the only non-staff member here. Do you have any comment?
Larry's.
Well, Larry, but he's almost, both of you are almost staff. Okay, so
Be
Rhea,
careful.
yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have a short and sweet report here. You can see the appraisers are on task. They appraised visited 325 properties this last month, plus some building permit properties. Our biggest issue at the moment, as far as budget concerns, is what's going to happen with Marshall and Swift moving forward. They are actually phasing out our current system that we use, and they are going to a cloud-based system. I believe that they don't seem to be in a big hurry to answer our questions as far as what it's going to cost when we have to have this done. So I think we have more time than we initially thought. I'm just putting it on your radar that that is something that we'll be changing to in the future, and it will be mandatory.
When I looked at that, I thought, are they continuing to increase the prices of everything?
It will be, from what I understand, it will be done on a per parcel. The cost will be on a per parcel basis rather than here's the cost for the year.
No, I mean on their estimates that you use for appraisal purposes.
Oh, that remains to be seen.
Okay.
I can tell you that I did talk to a local realtor the end of last week, and she indicated that she does believe that prices are going down.
Well, I noticed that on Realtor.com I get, it seems like daily things where prices have dropped, and I was just hoping that Marshall and Swift didn't
They will, if that's the,
escalate way up, and then it's gonna be a long time before they come down.
if the trend is that the market is moving down, they will have to move accordingly.
Whether listing prices are
Yeah.
different.
Sure.
Sometimes you see the listing prices start to come down.
And I'm not
Sales,
positive that construction costs have come down a whole lot at this point. Which Marshall and Swift is based on construction costs.
But labor costs are definitely up and going up, so if they're, I don't think construction costs have gone down, but if they did, labor costs are keeping the price of building.
Well, and I love this thing that Ray puts together every month. And it looks like just as soon as you think there's a trend that house prices are going down, you get a month where they're up. But you might not have as many houses selling. Just some
Welcome to
anybody else like this?
welcome to our world.
Okay.
I'm happy to report that everything is submitted to Axiomatic. All the reports have balanced minus. Actually, what I will say is that we had a very strong yet pleading conversation with Department of Revenue to ask Axiomatic to change their program to allow us to submit to allow road districts both in city limits and out of city limits, which has been the balancing issue all along. It doesn't want to accept road districts in city limits. That's not going away. So they have supposedly changed the program, although we haven't got that final red or green check mark yet. But that was a big step in the right direction. We did have a dog bite last week. Nothing severe, but just once again goes to show that little things that we deal with out in the field.
Fire stitches or anything?
It did not, thankfully. And John and Ray are doing campground inspections during the month of July. 2 years since those have been done. We just recently had another big campground sale. I think it's time that we
What sold?
want to say Rush No More, or was it Bulldog? Rush No More, I believe. Sold for $4.8 million. I pray I didn't just use the wrong name, so don't quote me on that one.
One out there in Pleasant Valley.
It was in Pleasant Valley, yes. So, any questions of me?
Well, good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Ben Petrocco, Meade County Facilities Director, and I've just got a short report for some of our workload from the month of June. We had another busy month in June. We had 59 work requests and have been working on many outdoor projects. Some of our bigger tasks for this month included the election setup and tear down. That involves quite a bit from our team with setting up the polling site at the community center, preparing vehicles and trailers for voter cam pickup from the remote sites, and then of course tearing down and helping retrieve and haul in all the equipment. We've been battling several weather siren failures. Faith siren in particular has been kind of the worst. I think it must have sustained another lightning strike because it fried several components, control boards and some more batteries, and it took a little while to get all that stuff replaced, but we got that one going again.
at least that's your close one.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is you go clear out there and you try to bring everything you can with you to work on it, but it never fails. There's something weird that you need that you can't get in Faith, so. Yeah, and as we all know, they have plenty of severe weather out there, so that one's probably one of our more important ones. I think they kind of rely on it a little more. But we also had one by the high school had a damaged board, and the, one at the main highway shop as well.
How do you know ahead of having to hit it to make an alarm that something's wrong ahead? Is there some sort of a notification it sends out to
Yes,
you?
so they do, dispatch sets off the weekly test on Saturdays, and the software's supposed to send a poll to each siren at the end of the test and let you know if there's any errors. That works most of the time, but we've had several times where it's showing nothing's wrong and the siren actually is down. Then we don't really know unless somebody says something from the area, like this hasn't been going off, or... So yeah, it definitely helps having that software, but it's not always 100% accurate. On the courthouse side of things, we were able to finally finish the stair nose replacement on the front steps. Still got a little bit of concrete patching to do around it, but the stair noses are on, and we were able to repaint the large landing area at the top. On the law enforcement side of things, we had to replace heater elements, water heater elements again for the jail kitchen. That's usually kind of a process because they're very large elements and they're hard to get out. They get all twisted and contorted in there, so trying to pull them out through a 2-inch hole is it's tough. But it seems like about every 2 to 3 years they burn up. That thing just gets a lot of, obviously a lot of use. And our hard water probably doesn't help either, but another jail item we had is the outdoor walk-in freezer failed again. We were able to catch it. It must have failed on like a Sunday, because when we kind of do our daily checks on that when we walk by it, because we've had so many issues. Temperature was rising. It never got warm enough to affect any of the food inside. I was able to find it was actually a start capacitor for one of the cooling fans up on top that had gone out. So when that happens, the compressor tries to run and it gets really hot right away and trips out on high limit overload, high pressure actually. But luckily we had one on the shelf, so I was able to get it back up and going right away. Yes, those are kind of some of the bigger projects we're still working on outside. Staining, painting.
Ben, can you talk about the damage to the law enforcement office with the shooting, and you were able to get that fixed, or what?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I was gonna save that for my next month, but,
Okay.
yeah, we had those windows get shot out, so, Century Glass has got windows on order. We were able to temporarily patch them up with black plastic, basically. There was the inside pane was still all intact, so it's not like a lot of weather's getting in or anything, but we patched up the outside layer and it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks before those windows show up.
Are we going to be reimbursed by insurance, or
I have not heard for sure.
Deborah has something.
I'm bright green now. Okay. So Sean Robertson, I think he is our claims adjuster, and I did file the claim last week. He will be out this week. He will look at all of the windows and any of the building damage. So I'm just waiting for the chief of police, Jody Vandewater, to give me a time and a date this week that works best for him, because he would like to have somebody there that has those 2 offices. And then we should have that settled.
You know, Pat mentioned to me, and he's out there, he might want to come join us, but I guess I had never thought about the fact of us not having that film on where people couldn't actually, we see
Like a tent.
like what we have in the control room. If that would be.
So I
possible.
discussed that with the glass guy, and this type of pane is a laminate glass. It's 2 layers. He says that if you try to put any kind of material on that inside, that it will absorb heat and potentially crack the inner pane.
Mm.
This type of glass isn't subject to use that kind of tinting. He said his suggestion is to go with some kind of blinds or shades like similar to what this building has, that you can get those in all different types of darkness where you
Oh, sure.
I think they even have some that are kind of you can see out but not see in type
Yeah.
designs. But that was his suggestion, other than changing out to a completely whole different type of glass altogether with all of them.
And that could be quite. This is the only time in 30 years that we've had a,
Right?
isn't it?
But that's the first time I've heard of it, yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about a pretty large cost to go to something next level type that would be what he called bullet resistant. Not bulletproof, but they do have like a bullet resistant one that's up to like a certain caliber it stops. But I don't know. We didn't talk if that kind would have the tinting or not.
Well, and there's cameras out all the way around the buildings, right?
Correct?
Now, and then I was wondering, and I'm no law enforcement specialist, but it seems to me like when you go in dispatch that bracket of all those cameras, the video of it is not really as readily as accessible to viewing. Like in the control room, you got that one screen that has all those outside areas that you can readily see all the time.
Yeah, you're talking the close one that's right in front of the control operator.
Right. So you can see all that stuff all the time. And is there a way to make those cameras more visible or easily accessible to dispatch? I'm just
Yeah, there's
asking
only
outside.
so much monitor space on the trees for the dispatch consoles, but yeah, I mean there's 5 monitors on there. If they wanted to dedicate one to one of those camera views, that could probably be done. I don't know how good that's, putting them on a smaller monitor like that. Obviously it'd be closer where they're up high now. We have moved. I don't know
Have you?
I don't know if you've been in there recently.
No, I haven't.
We moved before all the monitors were straight kind of on that one east wall.
Right.
We've moved them closer to the consoles on the north wall, so they're kind of spread out along this side. So a couple of the stations are pretty close right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't been there since they were over it.
Yeah, they're a lot better than they were. There's still 3 monitors on that east wall too that are a ways away, a little bit farther away, that have different cameras on them. But yeah, we've tried to make it as good as we could in there, short of taking up real estate right at their consoles, because I do know they use all those monitors to run all the different programs they got going.
Ben, it seems like we've had a couple ice incidents and then this big incident. And I've heard talk that maybe we need to make an improvement on the camera, where the camera is situated.
Which one?
The one that might be on the east side of the building?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so there's one that's fairly close to the cooling tower. And the cooling tower creates a lot of misting coming out when it's evaporating the water. And it's really hard to try to keep that camera 100% clean. Plus, it's probably not one of our higher-end models. We could look at maybe trying to do something different there, but there's a camera right on the front of the building that the PD monitors. That's not ours, though. That's, if I remember correctly, it's actually a state DOT camera. And we don't have access to view that one in dispatch.
Really?
No, we can get footage off of it, through Jody. But that is something we could look at adding more on that east side, or maybe relocating one or something.
So would a camera, would that have helped? I mean, that's really the question is,
You know
you know what I mean?
the guy came up to the front entrance, dropped off the bags, and then he went across to the east side of the 4th Street, tried to shoot him from over there. He was kind of back in the darkness initially you could see him come in, but then when he took off, he kind of went off camera, off our property even. So I don't know that they would have seen that.
But wouldn't they've seen the bag?
They should have seen the front lobby one, because there's red bags that
Yeah.
off right by the door.
Are you ready for the rally?
Starting to gear up. It seems like every year it comes earlier and earlier. I can't believe how many vendors set up already downtown. Tents going up around the 1st of July. Yeah, we're gearing up for it and starting our pre-prep stuff. It's always a pretty busy deal for us getting set up. So.
Well, thanks for guys getting everything put back together. And thankfully we had no injuries.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a lot worse. Gary, any other questions? Okay, that's all I got. Thanks.
Miss Deborah.
Deborah Bransard, Meade County HR, and don't have a lot to share in this open meeting other than things that are on the report. Does anybody have any questions with anything?
Are you busy onboarding the temporary rally help? I see the jail is advertising for help, and I know all the other sheriff's department and everything puts on temporary help. How's that impacting your office?
My experience in 2023, and I think this year again, Sheriff West does a really good job getting his people set up early. So communications will be done July 17th. They're using 2 people from last year and 1 new person. Sergeant Brua sent me a list of names. They're all repeats except for 2 new people. And if I can get those phone numbers, we'll get them set up and done early. And then we're just waiting for correctional. And I think, as Cheryl said, they might need 6 or 8 new people, and the rest will be repeats. So they actually do a very good job. And some of them we do have to process the day they start working, but most of them we can get done in advance if they live around the area.
So it won't be near as difficult as with the election and everything.
Nothing is as difficult as that election was, but I don't think we'll be going through that again, will we, Rhea? No. Okay. So we did process, I think it was 129 people were completed to be paid last week. And we have 9 people, I think 8 now, 1 more came in. We have 8 people that did work that have filled out no new hire paperwork. So we're just waiting for those 8. If they don't come, they won't be paid. Talbot and I had a quick chat on this last week, and he's comfortable saying that if we process these people, we are legally protected for any of our hires for the election. So we're going to leave it at that, Rhea, and we'll just make sure whether they're paid or they're volunteering and unpaid, they still need to fill out new hire applications so that we have legal document.
So it's a fair statement that we can throw out there, Deborah, that if you do not fill out paperwork in the future, you will not be even a volunteer election worker.
That's right, Rhea.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's, we'd had this conversation because I was giving her some background on this election. You know, I understand there's perhaps less paperwork if they're contract employees, but I'm not sure under the federal law they clearly qualify as contract employees, and I think it's worth the protection of both the individuals and the county, that their employee status, because all the insurance kicks in. Got good records, federal reporting, just the better. So I appreciate that it's probably more paperwork, at least until you get them in the system. It's not so bad, but I think long term, couple years.
So we're there, we're nearly there, and then I think for November, we will just be adding any new election workers, so it should be minor. And, yeah, so I think the bulk of the work is done. And anything else we will, discuss later. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, Tony, you're next. You keep us all running.
Morning, Commissioners. Tony Cummins, Meade County IT. I don't have a whole lot to report other than what's on the board docs, KPI stuff, busy month of June. Along with the KPI, I added in their cybersecurity reporting for our 3 entities that we're currently monitoring. One would be the cyber hygiene report from CISA, which is monitoring external IPs and servers. That's all coming back zeros, so that's really good news. Next one down would be our malicious domain blocking. That's the software that we took available of about a month ago. Still processing that and about to move on to stage 2, where we'll get access to not only the reporting end of it, but actually who, what, where, and when. So right now I just get those reports that don't give me a whole lot of information. Moving forward, we'll have a more in-depth view of the endpoints and end users. That last one on the screen then is our current vulnerability patch management. So anything outside of Microsoft, i.e. Chrome, any third-party software, we're looking very, very good on that. So that's all patched and up to date. So yeah, aside from that, we've started as you're well aware, we started our first phase of our multi-factor authentication 2FA for our email for our county. We've started with the Erskine Building, and you guys are involved in our first stage on that.
I hope the commissioners are your worst employees you have to deal with.
There's a
and
reason
that we're not typical.
There's a reason I started in this building, was to iron out and get used to potential issues that may arise before I push it out to our law center and deputies. So yeah. Most of the stuff I'm seeing right now is just, users not familiar with multi-factor authentication or apps to use for, setting that up. So yeah, easy stuff to overcome. Not a problem whatsoever. Not too much else. Any questions? Nope.
Oh.
Yeah. I just thought it was part of the new system that you're going to train it. Never had one there.
He's got to share.
He has to share with me, which is a terrible, terrible thing. For Ted, not for me.
Well, I think I speak for everybody with how much we appreciate all your efforts. Actually, the efforts of, all of our department heads. We're very fortunate.
So yeah, I'd just like to end up with, I do have a meeting today at 1 o'clock with Jim Edmond, who is a cybersecurity coordinator for CISA for South Dakota. He's coming up to talk to me about some prerequisites that would be a good thing for me to step through in order to be proactive and have everything set up for the potential of accessing some of that South Dakota money if it becomes available. I'm hearing rumors end of August, beginning of September. Got a policy set up for how to, apply for all these funding. So There's gonna be a bunch of prerequisites that need to be done that other entities are not aware of currently, and my in with Jim right now is I'm trying to step through all these and get ahead of the curveball. Okay? That's all I have. Good? Yep,
Yeah.
you betcha. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for setting up that multi-factor authentication.
You're welcome.
Thanks for putting up with us.
I almost brought my computer to you.
Good morning, Tanya.
Tanya Vig, Meade County Planning Director. This month we had 21 building permits. 8 of those were new single residential families. Fortunately, 0 commercial this month, which is the first time for a while. 14 permits and septic and approaches. This month I did add what we do in planning, how many plats, variances, and form of intents were presented to the planning board. And then planning staff has started splitting parcels based on plats and sales for 2025 tax assessments. Large subdivisions, I did reach out to the subdivisions this month on some progress updates. Sunrise subdivision, Sunrise Ridge subdivision, Wilson Construction is installing water lines in the new tank. Horizons, Estates 320, he has road base and the infrastructure, water, power is in. He is looking to come in for at least 8 lots, hopefully for the month of August for phase 1. Ben Estates was approved last month, or this month on planning. 4 lots are ready for sale. The other 4 lots have been bonded for to complete the infrastructure. Bridal Ridge, he has the road base in and is starting the infrastructure. Also, water's been trenched across, starting that. And Deerview has sold their last lot, and no more lots to be sold until a new master plan has been submitted.
You know, I wonder if it's just me, but we're getting so many different subdivisions and we get so many different developers, and I sometimes forget who is who. Can you add, or am I the only one who'd like to have the developer's name on there too?
I could just add them at the end real quick. That's easy. Yep. GIS, Renee Slaughter is being trained on 911 addressing. She will take over some of the staff responsibilities, and that will be one of her new duties. On the horizon, not just the typical stuff. On July 17th, I am meeting with Verskik for a building code effective grading system. It helps with insurance purposes and they score how we implement 2021 IRC building codes. So it's an important for a community to have done. I guess we've done it in the past. The last 3 years we've been doing it. Or the ISO program we do. The rest of it is just ongoing stuff. The section line improvement is out for bid. That's for Lindley's. It's out for bid right now. I have not heard if it's come back in yet or what the cost of that was.
Who's paying for that?
They are themselves. Lindley's are. The office work. Are there any questions on the report, or?
Tanya, one question I had on the GIS.
Mm-hmm.
The sales information doesn't appear still available. Yeah, on Beacon. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know there was a problem getting like the reads across. There were getting softwares to match, and I don't know if that's still an issue.
Okay.
I've had a couple people ask me about it. But I used to see that you could do sales analysis, transactions.
Oh, all right.
And the last I heard, that issue was couldn't get the 2 different softwares to back and forth.
I will check into that. Oh, I love seeing that information. Why, Why is that GIS layer showing the vacated section lines? Why is that on hold?
We've been working on other projects.
Oh, okay.
Max has been working on it as we have time. It's in progress layer that we
Okay,
keep
it's not a
working on.
permanent hold.
No,
It's just,
no, it was
okay.
just on hold. Max got married, just got back from her honeymoon, and then training Renee on different stuff.
And
So
she didn't invite any of us.
no, we weren't allowed to go to Scotland.
This goes,
Scotland? Oh,
Yeah.
South Dakota.
No.
England? I mean, Scotland?
Great Britain.
Great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, no, none of us got to go along.
Wow.
Yes, her wedding was very beautiful.
Wow. Did you get married in a castle?
Custer State Park. At the
I
lodge.
thought you said Scotland.
That's
Her
where Shauna-
honeymoon was at Scotland.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have gone on the honeymoon anyway, even if I'd been invited.
I'm sure Max is dying in her office now.
Do you know if the annexation for the Trails West went through?
I do not. Do you
Not-
have anything
It's
new?
not final because you have to hold the public meeting. This is on Trail West, which has been trying to voluntarily annex, but they could never get the absentee landlords, enough of them to sign up. More so because you just had trouble communicating with them. But they have to have this first public meeting, which they had. Generally supported by most people showing up. But they've got to go through a couple more meetings before they can effect it. So the first public meeting, they can then intend to annex and actually go through the process. So that probably won't be finalized, probably the earliest, by all the notice dates and hearings.
I just wasn't sure. I know we saw it on the agenda here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we prepared the mapping and
That's still going to be very strange boundary lines between those cities. Looks weird. I know Talbot explained it, but
Yeah,
it just looks strange.
that boundary for Somerset was established in 2005 or something like that, or 4, and Somerset has never been willing to take in or help Trail West.
Yeah.
I mean, Trail West is going to cost, whatever city takes it in, it's going to cost them money, not me. And Piedmont was willing to help the Trails West people out.
Which is good.
Somerset didn't see that as part of their fitting in their plan.
Rhea, you brought up something that I forgot to ask during the. How many road districts are in a municipality?
We have two. We have Dodra Road and Sarastan Estates that are in the city of Piedmont.
Yeah, and there's a couple sanitary districts. The old Air Force Base stuff, is Stage Barn.
Yep.
That's in Piedmont, but that's a sanitary district. Trails West has a Trail West has a sanitary district that'll be in Piedmont.
And the sanitary districts don't cause the problem. It's when they try to take the road districts along with all of the county value and try to make everything, it doubles up.
I didn't think there was very many, but I knew there was one.
I will forever dream those two. Maybe it's more of a nightmare.
Well, how it all happens when localities expand.
Well, part of the problem historically, the county was allowing these very tiny little subdivisions to do road districts. So I think Sarasand has like 6 or 7 houses. It's kind of like, and the only reason they do it is to get the local portion, which is $600-700 a year, and it causes more hassle than it saves. And so it's seemed to make sense 30 years ago. Today, not so much.
If we could have only seen ahead.
Well, and part of the problem, the next one that people are going to be cursing us for 20 years from now, way our ordinances are set up right now is people set up, they basically do 7 or 8 lots and have a shared well. And those are gonna be very problematic as growth happens and city boundaries expand, because people are gonna abandon these. You know, you're gonna get second owner in, and those systems are gonna have problems, because see a lot of, or you get to see a lot of good fights over shared wells.
Well, I would assume during dry years it gets even worse, because somebody will think they're using more water than the other guy, and I just...
Yeah, that's one of the big problems, is there's no control on usage, and if somebody's... Big thing that the state's gone to on the regulated systems is cost causers pay. So people who use a lot of water, the state wants to see their pricing go up. So it's, water, it's the more you use, the more you pay per unit, as opposed to, as most people think, the more you because they're trying to force people to be practical and conserve. So, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be something people curses for.
Well, everybody getting a SRF loan is going to, all their users are going to see continual significant rate increases until they're, you know, in Sturgis, I think it costs more for water than it does electricity or gas if you're in a home. Which
You're in a lot of places.
yeah, I mean, you know, used to be less than $10 for water. Things change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All that windmill energy and solar energy is driving that electric price down, right, Ted?
Right, and then, and did
I
you
went by
see?
the windmill farm yesterday, last 2 times out on 212, not one of the windmills was running.
And did you see California doesn't know what to do with all their excess solar energy that's just going to waste? So now the homeowners are having to put in $20,000 batteries to store
Yeah,
the
well, yeah, they can't.
solar because, you know, it goes away.
Well, yeah, it's not excess for those houses, it's the fact that the system doesn't have the ability to carry it back.
Yeah.
So it's not really excess for the state, it's,
It was,
believe me, California's gonna be buying energy, coal-fired energy from Wyoming.
oh,
All
yeah.
cloth.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Sean.
Morning, Commissioners. Hope everybody had a great Independence Day. Fortunately, Meade County didn't have any major incidences, which is great. It was,
Fire in Piedmont.
we'll get to that. So, you know, I'm pleased to say that the 4th of July parade in Piedmont went perfect, and we honored our Grand Marshal, Don Doobie. And we got a little bit of rain at the end, but it was a great turnout,
I mean, it
and
worked
it was
out.
I'm very honored to have been part of the coordination of that.
Just as a follow-up on that, I'd say, Sheriff's Office worked really well with Piedmont. I talked to Sheriff West there, and there was a lot of traffic. Ted was there. They were parking on the service road out to the second exit.
It was busy.
Wow.
It was,
It was bigger than I imagined it would be.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Was that the first one you'd been
Yes.
to?
oh yeah, they throw a pretty big one. They had kind of figured it would be bigger this year than some years past, because the 4th falling on a Thursday, that people weren't taking a long weekend to get out of town. But there were, they were full.
The news reported 6,000 vehicles, but I don't think that's true.
Boy,
I
what
don't,
time did
I don't
you
know
get
where
there?
they would have fit 6,000. That's a lot.
Oh, like
everywhere.
every
Yeah,
side
everywhere.
street.
Because
was parked.
they were parked out to both of the ramps.
At the
Yeah.
Sinclair, they were definitely walking in the Deerfield. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All the way to Chimney.
Yeah.
It was stacked full.
Yeah, I mean, just as a comparison, I usually get there early, and Usually I'm like one of the first cars at the school parking lot, and it was about 3/4 full when I got there versus what. It's a great parade.
Yeah.
Come down and enjoy it.
But there's 10,000
Get there early though.
Yeah, they estimate 10,000 people,
That
I
was.
think. Last year, I think they had more.
It's a lot. And it's always good. I mean, I've been there when it's raining, when it's cold, hot, and it seems like about the same.
Yeah, and it was raining, cold, and hot all
all those
at,
things.
at the same thing at this one parade.
As far as, well, these didn't make it to my agenda because I kind of discovered them. Some of these things happened this weekend as well, and yesterday. Before the 4th, there was a little 3.5 acres called the Redgate Fire, they called it. I found out about it secondhand, fortunately, but BLM, I don't think they felt the need to contact me about it, I suppose, but BLM were the incident commanders for that. It was on BLM land, so they were able to take care of it pretty quick. I could see it from my house near Piedmont, but
Lightning strike.
a lightning strike. Okay, yeah, I didn't get that detail. And then yesterday, there was a Kettleson fire, 20 acres of land north of Box Elder. I received this knowledge from the State Office of Emergency Management, and they said it was contained or under control, like very, very fast. So.
10 departments on it.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the origin?
I didn't get any reports of any damage or any injuries or anything. I'm sure I would have got contacted for it. I got it. I got the information from the state.
Well, Pat may know his department was out there, weren't you? Do they know what caused it?
It's dry. It's really dry.
It is. It's windy too. So Sunday, I was working with a gentleman that's covering down for the Faith deputy sheriff out there. He contacted me. Well, I contacted him in the morning. He texted me, and we found out that Faith had no water. Were you guys aware of that at all? Okay. So I wasn't contacted through official channels, which is a little surprising. However, he was gearing up to go out there. I was preparing to go out there, and I contacted the Red Cross immediately to just start that dialogue and that process in case they could assist with water. So what happened was, hopefully this is accurate. There was flooding in Ziebach County, and there was a pump station in Dupree, which is Dewey County, I believe. And that's also Ziebach? Okay, so all Ziebach then, forget Dewey. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with that area out there too much, but anyway, this pump station went down, and it directly affected Faith's water. Only in the town of Faith, there's an estimated 6,000 citizens there, I believe.
No.
Nope, not even close. 600, yeah, you're right. I didn't write it down. You're right, 600. That's a lot. 6,000 is
6,000 is
right.
Metropolis.
Yes.
My apologies.
That would have been about the 16th largest city in South Dakota.
You're right. Yes. Yeah. As soon as I said it, I said, "Wait, hold on, not that many." Nevertheless, I reported it to the state because it is actually a reportable item if there's a utility out more than 2 hours. So we got the cavalry all ready to go, and then we found out that some gentleman from Sioux Falls went out there and fixed it. So it was, it's all good. I just felt the need to make sure you guys knew it. Communication's the key.
Yeah.
It was a big thing for a second, for about an hour, and I was getting ready to go, and it turned out it was all repaired. So I was very pleased that, because I did get reports that people were panic buying water from the stores. There was a water tower that they were using. It limited the amount of water, I suppose, and it was almost depleted. So it could have been. And then the report was that it may not be repaired until Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So they would have been without water for several days, and that could have caused a lot of issues. So that's it. I mean, all this stuff was in July, but I felt the need to let you guys know about it. Okay, so switching over to the rally, all right? So there's a rally coming up. So I've been very engaged with that and starting to concentrate on it. A lot more and more as it gets closer. I have meetings all day tomorrow in Rapid City. One of them is with the 82nd Civil Support Team, which I already requested their assistance weeks ago for them to put their little equipment out in the streets here in town.
Are they putting it out a little earlier after we talked?
Yes, I believe they're Thursday. What's the Friday the 2nd? I think is it Friday the 2nd. I gotta look at my calendar. Yeah, but I'm gonna finalize that answer tomorrow in person because we have meetings all day with a lot of the state people, and then we're gonna switch over and go to Ellsworth to meet the 82nd CST afterwards. So my next thing is with the onset of the upcoming rally, I felt it was very crucial to get off the pot, so to speak, and finish my SOP for the wireless emergency alerting that we pay for already. I made the book and I made some appendixes for templates on how to do these canned template responses for alerting. Does everybody know about it? Pretty good. Where we can lasso the I-90 corridor or Sturgis proper or the whole county or half the county or whatever we want to do to blast out to people's cell phones, which is, you have to use that very sparingly, obviously, because there's a whole thing about making the community angry because you're over alerting, I suppose. So what I'm missing is I'm having a little bit of difficulty is I've made it clear before my personal feelings about being redundant or having redundancies and being a sole source, which I think is a failure probably from a military background. So I'm currently the only person that has this capability, and I don't like that. So I'm trying to identify people. I was told dispatch is not a good idea, which I agree 100%, because if we ever have some kind of disaster, they're going to be extremely busy with dispatching duties. So I'm thinking law enforcement would probably be the best thing there. So I'm working on that. And then on that note, law enforcement, I'd like some feedback, and I'd like to build these templates now, like ahead of time, well before the rally, for like mass casualty, hail. I know that's been an issue in prior rallies, right? So we can just literally press a button and then alert who we want. So so you can build those, but I don't have a law enforcement background, and I think it would take their input in order to help me build these templates. So.
Well, I think we need to put out a public service announcement on our webpage, on your Facebook page. I'll do it on mine. People to be able to sign up for it.
It's not a thing they sign out for.
Oh, they
it's
don't
forced.
sign up.
No,
It
this
just
is a federal
automatically?
thing. This is just like an Amber Alert or your national weather thing, which we
Okay.
don't do. We don't do Amber Alerts and we don't do national weather. Those are separate capabilities. We could do those. I mean, we have the ability, but legally we're not allowed to do those. We can just send,
I
evacuate
forgot it goes into
immediately.
those areas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But absolutely, something should be communicated to tell the public that we have this
That it
capability.
may be coming. Right. You may be getting an announcement.
Well, any time in the future, you might get an
Yeah.
announcement. Like, we have this ability. Just know that this exists. Something along.
We rolled this out like a year ago or something, but I don't know that it's
It
been.
wasn't officially rolled out. It was
We approved
the
it.
very start of it.
Okay.
There was a lot more involved as far as having instructions and
So you just need somebody from law enforcement to sit down with and work through.
Yeah, essentially, which I reached out, we'll get something going, you know, soon. I just telling you, that's the only, so I'm like 99.9% done. I just need to identify some redundancies and some canned templates, and then we're going live. We're ready to rock. I mean, we are now. If we needed to, I'd figure it out on the fly. Okay, so I'm gonna switch over to Veteran Services. Probably my busiest month yet, and this month is already looking like I'm probably gonna beat, because we're only a weekend, and I've already, this is probably gonna be my busiest month, and then I'll have to ramp down for the rally, I'm sure, you know, and just have to figure something out, put things to the side, I suppose. But I had 137 veteran assists. I put March. Oh, it is say June up there. Okay, I did fix it. Sorry, my printout says March. 88 of those veterans were existing veterans that we worked with before, and 49 were brand new veterans that we still getting Vietnam veterans every week that have never filed for any benefits whatsoever that live in this county every week. Okay, well, that's about it, folks. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Sean.
You bet.
For everything you're doing.
Well, let's see, it's 10:05. I think we better go into our 10 o'clock scheduled variance request. Would you please identify yourself? I assume you're Jacob.
I'm Jacob. Yep, Jacob Whittle.
So this was a variance was brought, again, forth with the planning board, July's meeting. The motion was unanimous to approve the variance. The variance was stated on a plat that it needed to be located in a certain area as a part of approval plat. Moving the approach further east on Elk Creek Road. Shows the new location of the map. One more, Rhea. So the star would be the new approach location. The solid one, the smaller star, is the existing, and we're just requesting to move it. Troy Eastman and I have walked Elk Creek, measured the distances between all their approaches, and it all meets our master transportation plan also for distancing.
I thought you had the nicest proposal I've ever read.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. So this is a scheduled item. Yeah, I think the location seems reasonable to me, and I think pushing it, the tie-in to the new roads, we will have a road that kind of cuts across there. So I did like your proposal.
Thank you. I'm new to this, so I'm trying to appease everybody.
The best do we have a motion to either approve, deny? Does anyone else have any comments? Anybody from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance request.
Seconded. Can you do it by computer yet? Are you still doing accident?
No, thank goodness.
Okay.
That's the tough part of this job.
So you left that profession.
Correct, I work for the state now.
Did you sign in? You logged in?
Anyway, I'll vote yes.
We're past.
Thank you.
Luck on your construction.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob.
Item is from planning.
Yes, ma'am. We had a preliminary plat, for Ross Landfier to dedicate public right-of-way along Fort Meade Way. The planning board did not split vote, so it will not go through consent calendar for discussion with you folks. Not real sure how to take it forward from here. This is kind of great. Packet is all uploaded. What was presented to the planning board. 10-foot, it's a 10-foot section that runs parallel to Fort Meade Way on the east side.
Can someone
Yep.
summarize the discussion on the planning board, why there was some dissent on this?
The section line, to vacate the road or to add road right away, the section line that runs north and south, section 29 and 30 would be vacated and be relocated to Fort Meade Way.
So,
That's my understand,
Yeah.
so the plat was not in favor with a couple planning members, as that was a tool to use for vacate, is my understanding.
yeah, I think the general discussion was that, I'll let the proponent speak to it a little bit, but the general discussion was that, Ross had his contention, correct me if I'm wrong, was that this had been talked about when they dedicated this road through here, that, moving that section line, subsequently, discussions he's had with, one other commissioner, the statement was, well, forward moving of the section line without dedication of additional right-of-way to bring Fort Meade up to where current specs are, and that dedication of that, across from Ralph's Way to get to that other property owned by a third person. So this was the preliminary first step. The general discussion, as I understood it in planning from people against it, is they're more against that issue of the existing right of way, and they see this as the first step. So opposed to this, how I took their discussion, and because they don't believe the section line should be vacated because it could be used for something in the future. And so that's the best I've got on that, Tanya, as I understood their discussion.
If the section line isn't vacated, it's kind of important to that line there to get over to the Fort Meade Way, or not?
One that goes off to the right?
The Ralph's Way, yeah.
Across Ralph's
Yeah.
Way.
Yeah.
That was something that another commissioner had said we wouldn't even, if you consider the vacation, you'd have to do something to get access to, that property over there, Fort Meade Way. At that, Ralph's Way was the practical place to put that because it hit a joint property line with where there's two different owners. that you'd wanna dedicate that as right away so somebody couldn't be orphaned later.
So, Tim, Homus owns the property to the,
He does. He owns the property to the east, but south.
yeah,
Yep. So, and that was really the intent, was to get across Lampier's property to get to like Coma's property. So, because there was that gap in between. So, if that makes sense. That's the only reason that was part of the agreement, and Ross agreed at this point to not only dedicate 10 more feet of strip so we can get, Fort Meade Way to a 120-foot wide right-of-way, which is today's requirement, for the classification of that road. But then also, like Talbot had mentioned, he also agreed to dedicate that public right-of-way, to get it through their property to adjoining landowners to the east, so, as part of that agreement. So.
I got it. First of all, why such a short distance? And does any of this have anything to do with that road that you mentioned in planning is out for bid? And if so, where's that at? Where's that
Your
at
pointer.
in reference to this?
So
Does
the-
anybody have a pointer?
We don't have one that works on the TV. Oh, we do? Oh. Two toys.
Well, only one.
yeah.
Well, I can start with your first question, Doreen. So, the reason it's only a short distance is because we come through Lampier's property and got 66 feet into Comus's property. So he has more than enough. So at that point, if something in the future is dedicated, then Comus and they can, whatever their future plans would be, if it's for some kind of subdividing, then they have that tool. I mean, they're to a point where they can take off from there and create whatever they wanted to create. So that's the reason for the short stub. There wasn't no reason to go any further. It's just, that was the goal, is to get access to the neighbor's property, so. And Thomas, he'll be signing this plat because that dedicated public right-of-way does go into his property a little bit too, so.
And just so I'm clear, on the Comus's access right now, you have to go down to the section line up the side of, 29, right? Yeah. So, really not a great access property. I mean,
Right, yeah. His legal access now, he'd have to go down, like you said, come back up, run a road along right beside Fort Meade Way, to improve the section line to get over, and this really solves that problem, so.
And then the portion between the section line and the current Fort Meade Way right away, that's essentially a lot, right?
The gap.
No.
Yep, it's just the remainder, yes, it's the remainder of what's on the,
It's not an
side,
H
so.
lot. It's
Okay.
land owned by,
Can you show us now with the pointer?
So,
Oh,
I mean, kind of a
now we're back.
access-wise, I mean, and that's all the same owner. Lampier Land owns both sides of Fort Meade, plus the portion, there, and then the 10 feet on the one side, plat that we're doing today, is for, to meet our comprehensive plan.
correct. Yep, that's correct. Yep, so.
Um, Do you need another job?
I thought we had found some pointers that would work on this.
you gotta use the pointer on that computer?
Well, so it's like a Microsoft Pin.
Do we need to add something to our budget request?
Well, you would think there'd be something that you could just shoot and show up on a screen, but.
So Ross, you're on board with this?
Mm-hmm.
That,
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
They're gonna put out so that it goes to here.
Yeah, so we are running that road, the plans are to run, 1,400 feet straight down the section line. We have all Zabrowski's on the north, Lamphere's on the south. Everybody's in agreement for construction easements, 'cause there's some drainages across in there, so everybody's in agreement to give a temporary construction easement to get that road built to county specs, whatever's needed. And then, once it touches into Comus's, then it's gonna turn up and head northeast, to their existing home. So they're only petitioning at that point, or what they already petitioned was about that 1,400 feet of section line to be
And their house is up here, correct?
improved. Yes, yep.
What's the distance between Fort Meade Way and the current section line there to the east?
Up at that point, it's
Meade.
it's about 30, 40 feet. And then, same thing down when we get to the south, you're looking at 60, 80 feet. But really, the whole, we hit a certain point that it's less than probably 200, 300 feet, that section line from Fort Meade Way. So that's kind of our, looking at it is, it wouldn't really ever make sense to have an improved section line running north and south that close to Fort Meade Way. But
Was there a terrain problem or something why the Fort Meade Way wasn't built on the section line?
yeah, and I know Ross knows a little bit of that history, but I do know, at times, obviously, it was because of drainages and existing dams and stuff that were in place, that's where they worked with the landowners to come up with the best, kind of most affordable route, I guess you would say. I mean, in a engineer's design standpoint, if you can take a little different route off from a straight line, it's, always a better situation, probably more for a more affordable road and just all around better safety road.
So that, across from Wells Way, that line, according to the plat, to the end of that bump out is 299 feet, so you said it goes about 60 feet over, so figure it's
Correct.
about 230 feet from, from Fort Meade Way to the section line there. Just to give you an idea, so, it varies, it gets a little closer and then it gets further away.
Yeah.
But at that location, it's about 200.
The bump outs that you have on the plat as well, what are those for? Are those mailboxes or are they?
Those are actually cover culvert sections for,
Yeah, drainage that goes through there already.
So, and just so everybody's clear.
Well, yeah, and some of those already exist, so he's not really dedicating extra on those. Those were in existence. Right?
Correct,
I was
yep,
just curious what.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So just so everybody's clear, kind of through the process that we're looking at is today, we're looking at this as a preliminary plat approval, knowing that we wouldn't bring a final back to you, cause it's gonna be pending on, we're gonna be submitting the section line vacate, relocate next meeting. You guys will see the section line vacation first, and then depending on how that goes, gets approved. If it gets denied, obviously this plat will kind of just die in the water, but if that gets approved, then you'll see the preliminary plat come back for approval. So, does that make sense?
Okay, and,
What's that?
Final will come back.
Yes, final, sorry.
and Ralph's Way is not a county road.
Well,
Non-maintained.
it's a non-maintained.
The
Non-maintained
maintained,
county road.
yeah, yeah.
And there's been no promises made that we're taking over Ralph's Way.
Nope.
I want that in the record.
Yeah, the other issue that,
Must've got a question.
the planning
I've had continual questions on that.
planning called out on this is, not to name that as Tim's Way, but to continue the name of Ralph's Way across so that you don't come up to an intersection and have different named roads on going either.
Yep, and we'll make that correction, so,
Yeah,
we had issues with that.
less confusing.
When was Fort Meade platted?
The right-of-way, I don't
Trying to remember. It'd have been 11 years ago, probably.
14, 15, yeah. What's the date on?
15.
Yep, 15. And I believe I think the classification at that time was 100-foot right-of-way, so.
Any other questions, any comments? Ross, Logan, do you have any comments? Any comments from the commission?
So I'm in favor of this. I think it gets access back over, identifies some through roads opportunity there. We're working with one landowner, and I think, if for the future side of this platting is, if anything happens with that property, or platting, it has to come back through, so, I'm generally in favor of the whole process that we're working with here. And I think that the fact that, Ross, that you're looking at putting that road over, putting that easement over there to access, place, I think it's the right thing to do. For planning wise, it makes a lot of sense.
I would expect if there was actually, Ross comes back and wants to plat stuff on the other side of the creek, then
Right.
have another access point dedicated at that point, another road access off of Fort Meade Way. Because you don't want a bunch of approaches, you don't want a bunch of driveway approaches on Fort Meade Way. You're going to want road approaches that force people then to have their driveways off a side road.
Yeah, and that goes back to him being the landowner. And decide to do with that property, maybe he sells it, maybe he keeps it and develops it. Still has to go back through platting.
Yes, I was just going to say, I have no idea what road is being built, but yesterday, I happened to stop by the three-wheeler convention in Deadwood, and coming back, there is a road being built on the south side before you get to that black stuff on the bend as you come out of town. What is that giant road? I thought, my God, we could have built a road on any section line if you look at that road being built. Tanya, what is that road?
Just to development.
Really?
Mhm.
They're taking out a whole side of a mountain.
Yeah, that must be a Sturgis plat then.
To Lawrence County.
It's
No, it's in
It's
Lawrence
actually
County.
in the city of Deadwood. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just, who's developing that?
No, my mind just went blank.
No.
Okay, anyway, yes, I'm ready for a
Alright.
motion,
Enough
and we
guys
can
doing
build
your
a road
mouth.
anywhere.
We can. It just costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve the plat.
well, yeah, those roads that they build around Deadwood, if they're trying to build in Meade County, would have to get variances. Their pitches exceed.
Yeah, they're great.
And actually the last guy who wanted a variance on grade in front of planning didn't get it. He lost that 4-3 in that vote.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I have no idea. It looks like they're taking down a huge portion of that hill to make the grade not quite as bad as the grade I live on.
I'll second Rich's motion.
I wanna make sure that we get the Tim's way off and the Ralph's way on.
Okay.
Yeah, your motion is to pass it with the same condition.
Sorry. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Can we do it by computer?
Logged out and logged back in and
Still out?
Oh, you are a lame duck.
yeah. They just eliminated me from electronic voting. I'm a yay.
There is some development in this area.
Yep.
Okay, that's passed 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody want a break, or shall we go on to RIA?
About done, right?
Yes, we are about done.
I see that I did not correctly label this. This is actually the June expense and revenue reports. They are the correct reports, but I did label them May in the inboard docs.
The lady with the control T left. Rich, how do I
Control
get
shift.
rid of this? So I
Shift,
can...
Control T, Control Shift.
Well, no, I got something else that came up, and this thing came up, and I can never get rid of it without closing it down. I can't see my agenda. Oh, okay, just wait. Okay, thank you. Is there any questions on the budget report? Looks like everything is going pretty good. And then we have the overtime report. You know, when I read this overtime report, I don't know if anybody else thought it too. It's good to have it as a biweekly, but it would be good to have a cumulative total too. If
for the
that's
year?
possible, yeah.
We can add that.
Anyway, I thought it would be. I don't know if anybody else thought it would be.
So, any of your reports there, Rhea, that anything stood out to you that's ordinary or?
I will say the auditor's office is getting a lot of overtime. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but we're doing what it takes to get done.
Oh, you're down one.
How's that going?
Did interview, we have an offer out.
Good. Well,
There's certain work that kinda has to get done.
he's
Hey,
gonna
Chris?
send out budget reports to all of us soon, budget requests.
I have the preliminary budget requests in a spreadsheet broken out by tabs at the bottom by office that I will send out to you, minus anything to do with wages, insurance, that type of information that will come from Deborah. And then I can also include those departments that have requested additional help for 2025.
Under the accounts receivable reports, anything else you wanna?
This is actually something that is, first time I've actually seen this.
First time for me too.
But I can go back and see that these, deceased reports have been being received for years, but I don't know that the accounts have actually been inactivated prior.
Really?
So we will be doing research and we will go in and with your if you approve this, we will go in and we will inactivate these, and we will bring forward a list of priors.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just carrying them on the books. And
Right.
when you make them inactive, are you really just writing them off?
Yes,
Okay, zeroing them out,
yes.
getting rid of them.
And
So,
s-
go ahead.
do we need to then make a motion to, write them off? Or can the auditor's office just on their own?
I think we should make a motion. We should bring us just a sheet of 100 of them.
Yeah.
But don't you want it in the public record?
I would feel, go ahead, Ken, I'll let you address that.
The auditor doesn't have authority to remove the items. It's a commission action. Because they're an asset of the county, so to
Yeah.
remove them, you have to,
Makes sense.
It'd be like a water bill with the city or something, I would imagine.
So, as to those listed, I'd make a motion. Activate their account. Uncollectible.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to,
You don't need to, Ted.
Yeah,
Ted's a yay.
three will
well,
pass it.
we're gonna see if Ted will work.
Yeah, there's gotta be some answer, but I'm not gonna be able to come up with it, but I'll vote yay.
Tony broke you.
Oh,
Yeah,
Maybe you're just not signing back in.
yeah.
well, I don't know, what do you have to do to sign in?
I don't know.
Besides what I do.
Besides what you normally do, I think that's what
Yeah.
you should be doing.
I mean,
You know, no one wrote us, and you may recall that at the last commission meeting, the fire department asked for us to send in some information. We have gotten no information from them in which to write a decent letter. And I was going to ask Talbot if he thought that Chevron decision at the Supreme Court would kind of possibly nullify
What they're
some
trying
of
to do
those
with the-
requirements that they're looking at.
Boy, that's a much deeper dive than I've gone.
Okay.
I mean, the only way it does, I mean, the regulation has to be challenged. So I don't think the regulation firefighters was challenged for it.
I wonder, okay. Do I have a motion on the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve the consent.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments? How many applicants? Do we have just one applicant on the beverage license? Or did
We've
The other
received
one.
2.
Did kickstands come in?
Kickstands and Eagles Landing.
Form they should.
Letters were sent out to the landowners and to the sheriff's office. I shouldn't say the landowners, the business owners.
Let's do this electronically. I know, I feel bad.
What do you want to vote, Ted?
But I think it's easier if you're taking notes to have electronic votes, isn't it?
I'll vote yay.
Looks like we have an executive session. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for executive session for personnel and contracts.
And I might have a legal question. Been moved and seconded. Ken's going in, Deborah's going in. Anybody else going in?
I vote yea.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I don't think there'll be any action, will there? This might be one of our shorter meetings.
For a while, man, we used to be able to do a short meeting.